Now to some real talk about Donald Trump after the National Review comes out against the Republican frontrunner. Glenn Beck, among the conservatives, trashing Trump, writing this: Trump's potential primary victory would provide Hillary Clinton with the easiest imaginable path to the White House. But it's far worse than that. If Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination, there will once again be no opposition to an ever-expanding government. Katrina Pearson is the national spokesperson for the Trump campaign, and she joins me for Real Talk on The Real Story. Katrina, what is the Trump camp's response?
Well, hi, Gretchen. I believe many people heard Mr. Trump respond to it last night, but I do find it quite interesting that this is obviously a Hail Mary pass to try to thwart Mr. Trump's support in the country. I think we'll also find out that it's going to fail miserably. But it's also been my experience, Gretchen, in politics that sometimes your loudest and most fierce critics on the sidelines, those are the ones that don't really have the courage to get in the ring and run for office themselves. And we see a lot of that happening here, particularly with the corporate conservatives that always seem to have something to say. But I'll also say that if we look at the polls, we see that there is someone that Republicans of all factions have fundamentally rejected, and that's Jeb Bush. So where is the article from the NRO rejecting Jeb Bush? We're not going to see that.
Okay.
But they are making the exact same arguments that Jeb Bush is making about Donald Trump.
I think what they're saying, and you just heard the interview from Jonah Goldberg, their claim is that Donald Trump is not a conservative, that they can look in the past, recent past, and see that he's changed his views on many of the big issues. And quite honestly, you know, they go on to say that he is an opportunist, he's unmoored politically, a free-floating populist with strongman overtones. They're basically calling him a blowhard.
Well, of course they are, but again, I'll go back to the NRO in general. I mean, where was the Mitt Romney hit piece? Was Mitt Romney a conservative? I mean, he had poor positions in his past as well. He was the author of what they use now for Obamacare, but we didn't see that hit piece then either. So I think the point here is they are seeing the poll numbers, they are seeing the crowds. They're not happy with Donald Trump because he doesn't use their approved vocabulary and he doesn't use their think tanks to make their talking points.
Okay.
So this is sort of opportunistic for them. Everyone knows that if you attack Donald Trump, you can sell a magazine, but the reality here is Donald Trump has more Instagram followers than the NRO has subscribers.
All right, let's take a look at what Marco Rubio said about all of this.
I don't think Donald is running as a movement conservative. I don't think he's ever said that. It's clear he's not. I mean, what he's running in is against someone who's a populist, who's upset about the direction of this country, as am I, as are millions of Americans. But we also have to know exactly what we're going to do about it. And so I would just say one of the reasons I feel so strongly about my candidacy is I offer the Republican Party in this campaign, I think we're someone who offers consistent conservatism, real conservatism, but also the ability to beat Hillary Clinton.
All right, and that was one of the criticisms in the NRO piece, was that they believe, Glenn Beck specifically, that Hillary Clinton will win in a landslide if your candidate is the nominee. Your response?
Well, I think you can also find out through the wide scope and spectrum of Donald Trump supporters that that's simply not the case. And I just heard Rush Limbaugh talking about today. Donald Trump can win a general election. He's probably the only Republican candidate that could, considering that we now have, with the NRO hit piece, the far left attacking him and now the far right attacking him, which makes him right in the middle for American voters. So I think that's the one thing that this did accomplish, is to show voters now, and I could tell from the support that I've been receiving, that they've had a lot of conservatives actually figure out which camp they're going to go into, because they do want someone that can win. These individuals supported failing candidates in 2008 and 2012. In fact, these corporate conservatives haven't won a popular vote, maybe one, since 1988. Donald Trump can change all of that.
We've had both sides of the story on The Real Story with regard to this. Katrina, thanks much.